ever leave. See me drinking tears for water. You're not here with me. Say I am the fool. I should never let you go away. Call me what you will, but honey, don't you ever stray. And if the sun comes up and there's air to breathe, but still.
Let's try this again. I am Mr. Noise.
I'm Mrs. Noise.
And this is the off-centered I Still Do.
No, because you keep saying off-centered.
Because it's off-centered. I can't stand it.
Oh.
It just takes a second to center it and get it right.
Oh.
You have guests. Treat your guests like you want them in your home. That's a little bit better. Still not great, but we're going to make it work. Hi, Mama Noise. I be trying to get it right, man. Production, man. We're on limited budget right now, but soon we'll have a bigger budget and we'll have people that do this.
That's right. Woo woo.
There you go. We got an interesting show for you tonight or today because today's show is about Black. No, that's not the right banner. There it is. Black love lessons we learned from Black romance films, and so. Some of our favorite films, there are certain lessons that we took from them that are applicable to, that's a great word, applicable to life in America. So we want to talk about that today on our show because we think it's an interesting topic. So we set aside some iconic Black romance films and took some of the lessons from those. And we'll discuss it. So, Mama Noise, are you ready?
Yes, I believe I'm ready.
All right, because we were off-centered there. We're still off-centered right now.
Please.
But we're going to make it work. Okay, so the first film is Love Jones. And the lesson that we took from, that we're going to highlight from that is intentions.
Oh.
And so... if you remember the story, Love Jones, it was Darius Hall.
Love Hall.
I'm not saying Love Hall.
That was his last name?
Yeah, I don't like it though. Because he's just trying to force Love Hall in there.
No,
ain't nobody's last name Love Hall.
It's his fictitious last name.
I'm Darius Love Hall. Your name is Barry.
Ain't nobody question none of your characters in any of your scripts.
You don't have to question none of the characters in my scripts. You don't, because
all of them have some basic name.
They have unique names, but
that's the point.
They're not Love Hall and all that ghetto-y stuff right there.
Haterade.
Only reason you hate her, only reason you saying I'm a hater is because that's one of your favorite movies. You love the movie more than me?
No.
Okay then.
I love the movie with Darius Love Hall.
Anyway.
And Nina.
Anyway, Darius and Nina got together to date, but they struggled with intentions. Because she wasn't up forward coming about her past relationships, and he wasn't forward coming about his full intentions of what he wanted. He was trying to play it cool, like, oh, we just kicking it. And intentions or not stating your full intentions and letting things be clear in the beginning can be a tremendous detriment to a brand new relationship. Your thoughts, Mama Lois?
Well, I will say, first of all, the importance of the matter is, I know I pay attention to you.
Anthony Bruce didn't like it. He didn't like
He
Love
didn't
Jones.
ask his wife. He just said it from his own.
Women love Love Jones.
That's right.
Because y'all know no better.
Whatever. Y'all taking us to go see it.
Well, that's because we want something afterwards.
Well, don't matter. Anyway,
you gotta take it because we want to see it.
It was. I think the intention part would have made things go so much better in their relationship if they would have divulged that. I know she kept telling them from the beginning, it's not a good time. I just came out of a relationship. She did say that.
Yeah, but y'all say that. But then she gave up the guts. So it was good enough time for that.
No, that's not the point. The point I'm talking about is that the point I'm talking about is that she told him that she had just come out of a.
If it ain't a good time, why you giving up the booty? She gave up the booty.
You just want to say that?
Give up the booty.
Anyway, the point is that she told him she had come out of a bad relationship and it wasn't a good time. However, I think that the biggest struggle is that she needed to let him know that she wasn't over this guy, because clearly there was something still there for her to even factor in Marvin, to even factor him in to say, I need to check and see if there's something still there. Why would you need to check if something's still there if it ended badly and if it was not, I'm not dating right now because this is such a bad time, but yet as soon as you found somebody you thought that was date worthy, now you want to talk about, I just want to check and make sure that nothing is still there.
Intentions have quietly destroyed more relationships than you can possibly imagine, because when you don't state your intentions as to where you are in the moments of that relationship, if you don't state them clearly from the beginning, you're going to have nothing but problems. You're going to have nothing but problems. If this is just a jump off between two people, then that needs to be clearly stated. Hey, listen, I ain't here for a relationship yet. Not yet. I'm just here for this one night stand. And so if we understand that, then, try not to get your feelings all the way in it, because I may or may not be back. Just have that conversation. And if everybody's on board from there, then you're not going to have any problem. But the problem is those things are not clearly stated in the beginning. And so there are assumptions, like niggas getting up to make eggs for somebody the very next day because he's enamored with somebody.
Hey, listen.
You know what I'm saying? I'll make eggs for you. My wife didn't get a meal from me until we were married.
But I made eggs for you every day until then.
It was disgusting.
But you ate them eggs.
Not disgusting because she can't cook eggs right. She cooks eggs well. She's a very good cook. But I just don't like eggs.
I didn't find that out until we got married.
Exactly. You didn't even find out I could cook until we got married.
You was hiding your skills.
That's right.
Well, see, that's the same thing that they do when they have their intentions.
Nope,
they're
that's not the same thing.
On
Nope.
their own stuff until they know for sure.
That is not the same thing. Me not letting you know I can cook ain't got nothing to do with my intentions.
But
I intend to cook for my wife, which is what I did.
But you didn't intend on cooking for a girlfriend.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I'm saying the intentions from Love Jones, that Darius's character was, he's gonna wait and see, because he had come from out of some broken relationships. And he's like, we just kicking it in this relationship. But he didn't say that to her. He said that to his boy. Now that's
say
true.
that to her.
Yeah.
Listen, right now we just kicking it. Let's see where this goes. If you have that conversation, then you don't have as many problems. Intentions are an incredibly important part of that. Let's go to number 2. All right. Forgiveness.
I'm sorry.
From the movie The Best Man.
This is genius, by the way.
Damn. The reason why this is important is twofold. And one, well, threefold really, because one is more subtle than the other one, or not as obviously stated as the other one. The movie, obviously, for those who remember the movie The Best Man, is the premise is they all get together the best man actually had sex with the fiance,
the bride
to be, and they didn't find out until the weekend of the wedding. And so now the groom has to decide, am I going to marry this woman and forgive her for what she did? Because I promised myself that with all the stuff that I did, if I ever found out that she did something, I would forgive her. That's what he promised himself. So would he live by that, and especially forgiving his best man because he was the one that did it, or would he cancel the wedding? So the reason why I said it's threefold on the forgiveness is, number one, he had to forgive her. Him. He had to forgive him. Number two, he had to forgive her. Well, maybe that's number one.
Number one, he had to forgive her.
Yeah, her. Then number two, he had to forgive him. And then number three, he had to forgive himself. Which is not the most obvious part of this.
He got called out on his promise. You know, we be making promises to ourselves, or I said I promise.
Well, it's not even just the promise, though. See, the thing that we don't always understand in these moments like the best man is that he had done his dirt.
Oh, yeah.
He had sowed his wild oats.
He was.
But what? Wait, what? He had done all the things that he wanted to do. And that thing came back to haunt him.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, I'm gonna take it if you don't stop. What you want to do?
We live. You trying to show your mind?
Nah, I'll show you that later. We bad. Oh, we bad. Okay. What was I going to say?
See, because
you distracted.
You're the one that's talking.
That don't mean you're not distracted.
Get your life together.
Whatever. We having some issues in production right now. No, we're not. It's you. All right. Anyway, like I was saying, he had to forgive himself because he did. There's a certain part of this where he kind of provoked this. She knew the reason why she cheated. Her stated reason was because you was out being a hoe. So
that's why she did it.
Yes,
but were they?
She wanted to get him back. She wanted to pay him back. So she said, "Okay, you want to go cheat with all these random broads? I'm gonna show you what cheating looked like." So she cheated with him with his best friend.
So it wasn't that a relationship they just happened to have before she met him, and then it was a part of her past. This was something that
she
vindictively.
You never knew that about the movie.
I guess I didn't really know.
She fully knew what she was doing when she cheated on him. She was getting him back for all the cheating.
For his best friend,
right? She came and she said, "I want him to hurt like I'm hurting."
I never knew.
So so that's why it hurt so much, because he was like, I can't even be mad. He said that's why he said I can't even be mad at her the way I want to be, because all of the stuff that I did, I cheated on her the entire time we were in the relationship. So I'm stuck because I promised her I would forgive her. So now you got to live by what you said.
Noisemakers, did y'all know on Best Man? Did y'all know this? Did you know that the bride was like, I'm finna get my hoeing boyfriend, football player back by getting with his.
Why did you not know that?
I'm saying I didn't. I thought it was something that the reason why Harper was hiding it in Best Man is because that was something that happened so far before he met.
No, they had already met.
I didn't know that they had met and that he was. So to me, that made no sense.
But it was a one-off. It was a one-off.
But still, then it made no sense for him to incorporate, that part into the book. If you know that you trying to put something deep, dark, secret that you're supposed to take to the grave with you.
That's why everybody kept asking him, why would you put that in the book? It's a fictional character. No, bro, you smashed.
You made sure that,
But I think there was a part of Harper that wanted him to pay as well. Huh? I think there was a part of Harper that wanted him to pay.
I felt like Harper
as well.
Had in his character, I felt like that his character was like, he's doing her wrong. She's such a good girl. Why he running around her?
Well, he even told him that. Remember when they introduced him? He said, he's like, hey, man, I want to meet her. He said, nah, man, she's a good girl. Come to work on time. She's good people. I ain't trying to hook you up with her.
But, I mean, so she a good girl, that thing, but you need to smash?
No, but he smashed because she initiated, not because he initiated.
But why he
Harper
didn't say that's
initiate
my
it.
boys? Why he didn't say that's my,
Which is what I just said. I think there was a part of Harper that wanted to get him back for all the stuff that he felt like he was able, like your boy Lance was able to get away with. Mm-hmm. So forgiveness is a powerful thing, because for any of them to be able to look past any of that and still be friends is amazing. Okay. So that's why I thought that was pretty good. Okay, so I can't believe you didn't know that.
I didn't make the connection. Now I probably have to see it over again. But
go back and watch it with that understanding. Okay. Now, Love and Basketball. The two things that you take away from Love and Basketball is communication and commitment. I don't think they had solid enough communication, which is where I think in the beginning, and by the way, you wouldn't expect them to, because they were so young when they got together. Even when they got to college, they were still really young. So they didn't know what communication is. They didn't know how to fully express the depths of what they were trying to talk about and understand with one another. And him being able to understand how to support her and vice versa in his time of need or whatever. So I think those two, that element was a strong factor and lesson that you take away from Love and Basketball, but also commitment in the sense of you have to decide what's important to you. You know, to her in the beginning, the most important thing to her was her career, and to him, because of the way he was raised, his family was always going to be more important than anything else. And so basketball for him is what he did. It's not who he was. Whereas for her, it's who she was, not just what she did. And they had to figure that out, that commitment, you know, where are you going to place the power of your commitment? You know, people get lost in that all the time in society and in life. You know, you get a job or you have kids, and I've seen couples that overcommit to the kids, if that's the thing. Like, you're so committed to your kids that you're not really committed to your spouse.
Wow. I've seen people do that. I just never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
That is, well, then that says to me that, you know, whatever you're not getting out of the marriage, you feel like with the kids I can control.
Right.
But, you know, with the...
Well, because marriage is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It is not, you know, it's not a, you know, you don't just wake up and everything in marriage just magically falls into place. You got to put the work in. But that's where the communication part comes in. You have to talk. You have to, you know, share the deeper parts of who you are and be willing to be vulnerable in places that make you uncomfortable. And that's a hard thing to do for a lot of people, but it's what you have to do to successfully make a marriage work, I think.
You know, for me, when I think of Love and Basketball, I think of how we don't always have the privilege or the patience to get to know somebody's family so that it will show us what type of person that we're dealing with here. Like when you think of Malik's, that was his name on that one, or am I?
Yeah, no, I think is it Malik? I don't remember.
I think
it's Malik.
Comparing him to another one of his movies.
No. I think it's Malik. He may have played Malik in a bunch of movies.
I was gonna say, is he the same?
I never thought about that until just now, but you know what? He just be Malik. Like every time he's Malik. I don't understand.
Well, Omar Epps' character, let me put it that way. Omar Epps' character, when you get to know, if she would have got to know his parents.
Quincy. His name was Quincy.
Oh, okay.
Quincy Wright.
Malik is his name in another one of his movies.
Yes.
But Omar Epps' character, his family life was jacked up. Now she lived across the grass, the lawn or
His
whatever.
family life was jacked up.
But I mean, then she should know that.
Well, no, she didn't know his family life was jacked up. You're right, she didn't.
Because his father was out there, he was hoeing, and so
black men always hoeing him.
I'm just saying. I mean, just because he played for the NBA, is that a prerequisite? Because you start making a whole lot of money, you have your license to be hoeing.
No, yes, not. But
I mean,
but I'm just saying, it seems like that's a prerequisite in black romance movies where the black man and father be home.
Right? Is it possible for a man to be successful and then love his family and
yes, it's possible,
and have D discipline?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
you can have D discipline.
I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness.
Because his mama was over there just torn and just devastated and stuff, and finding out what she had already felt. And then to me, it kind of made him be a certain kind of way because of what happened between his father and his mother.
Right. So commitment and communication is what I was laying out there for you.
Okay.
Next movie we went through was Sprung. And so we took that from Sprung. And the lessons we took from was compatibility and connection. First of all, I don't know if we always know how to flush out true compatibility. Like, I think a lot of times we lean on the outward appearance for compatibility, and the outward appearance oftentimes fails us because we put so much emphasis on that outward appearance that we don't fully understand connection. And so we run into a relationship or a sexual ship through
is that a word?
Yes, I just made it up. Sexual ship through connection, as opposed to waiting for true compatibility. So he fine, or she got a big ass. So you're like, oh man, I feel connected. Well, you're not connected, you're just horny. That's a different thing. Those are not the same things. And so connection takes time, number one. Mm-hmm. It takes conversation, going back to communication a minute ago. And then I think you have to build it from a real foundational place. And once you've gotten it there, then you can see what you're dealing with and how to move forward. So that was a very important lesson. It was a key lesson in my marriage because I got married literally, or I got engaged literally right after watching the movie Sprung. Literally. Why are you looking around?
You asked me to marry you.
I said I got engaged. It's the same thing.
Well, I thought you said I got married, literally.
I said engaged. I corrected the marriage part. You know what, correction?
Can I run this back? Because
you know what, correction, Caroline? You know what? Now I'm starting to think about changing my mind.
Really? After 23 years? Forget it, buddy.
Well, anyway, do you agree with the lesson?
Yes, I agree with the lesson. Because we do tend to take the exterior and make our decisions prematurely.
I can honestly say meeting you was the first time I'd ever let the connection lead me to compatibility. It's the very first time. It had never happened prior to that. Prior to that, it was the outward appearance. It was, I'm sexually attracted to her. Oh, she fine, blah, 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 blah. You are fine. Now, let's be clear. You find it in the mug. You find it in the mug.
Just saying, now, wait a minute.
Right. Now, settle down. You fine, all right? You fine.
Make sure
But I didn't, for some reason, in this particular relationship, I did not get blinded by the fine. And I let the connection kind of guide me to love. And I had never let that happen before. So it was interesting because I was like,
recommend that?
I would absolutely recommend that. I mean, I'm not saying you gotta marry somebody you're not attracted to. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying let the connection and the compatibility lead you into emotional understanding. Don't just take face value and they'll, oh yeah, she fine. I'm in love. I love you. No, that's not going to work. You need to be drawn in to this thing with something that's greater than yourself. And I think that connection and compatibility did that for me with you. Now I know for me it was the opposite with you because I'm so sexy.
Yeah, you are.
You was like, I need that man.
I was like, but you know what? I would have to admit that it wasn't the I mean, you are attractive.
I am fine as hell.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Look at this.
Yeah,
Y'all see this?
you are. Yeah, you are. But you know what? I have to admit that it was similar to what you said.
Yeah.
There was the connectivity, the compatibility. That meant so much more to me. I mean, I've seen fine dudes. It's the same thing like you said. I'm not trying to repeat what you said, but
no, but it's the real. But that's real though. That's real.
I've seen fine guys. I've seen guys who look like, okay, he might be okay. But at the same time, you're going, is this somebody that I'm compatible with?
Right.
Is this somebody that I can really connect to? Is this somebody that I can see longevity? Yeah. And that's not something that you see all the time.
Well, you can't see it immediately. So that's the key. You got to wait for connectivity and compatibility. And I think our lack of patience sometimes and our abilities to be distracted by what we've seen and what we've heard don't allow for us to wait on true connectivity and true compatibility so that we can build something real. And that's where we got to be careful. So that was what Sprung taught me, because there was some really powerful scenes.
This is a cult classic.
I think it is. Well, it is to me. I mean, Sprung is
what
awesome.
Was so special about that?
About Sprung? I had never seen a movie be, though not as strongly written as I would now reflect and would have liked it to be, but I had never seen a movie dive into some of the more realistic challenges that you face in relationships. Like, and though they did it in a comedic way, it was still fascinating to deal with how it's just, the whole movie about what we're talking about. Like, oh, he's cute, he's fine, blah, 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 blah. And so initially you get enamored with the sex, or you get enamored with the this, or you get enamored with the that. And so you don't wait on connectivity and compatibility. So then you start asking yourself tough questions. Are you going to cheat on me one day? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? So they talked about all that. And then here's what the irony of the whole thing is that the couple that found out they had the most compatibility and connection was the couple that led with sex, then went and hated each other. And then eventually, by spending more and more time together, they realized and appreciate each other for what they were and built connectivity and compatibility. So that's what I thought the movie brought that was very different than any other movie. So There you go. All right. Boomerang taught us faithfulness. Because love should have brought your ass home last night.
That was classic.
That was a classic line. That was one of the coldest lines. She had to know when she read that script, like, oh, I got the coldest line in the script.
I mean, and was she wrong?
She said, I'm so sick and tired of brothers using love like it's a disease. Love should have brought your ass home last night.
Okay, Hallie.
I was like, wow.
Facts, though.
But it's true. Faithfulness is obviously a pillar of any relationship. Mm-hmm. But I want to say something to that point as well. Y'all not ready?
No, we're not.
Y'all not ready.
When you look off in a direction like that, means we're not ready.
I'm trying to give y'all time to get ready. Okay. Hallie also had to be faithful to herself. And the irony of her character is that her inability to see and be faithful to her own personal standards of what she wanted to receive from love hindered her from being able to receive it. So she knew, because see, here's the thing that we never talk about with that moment. We never talk about with that scene. Hallie knew he was a hoe. He was dating the other girl when he got with Hallie. He was the office hoe. Everybody knew he was a hoe. So you the one that jumped off into this talking about some love should have brought you home last night. You knew what you was getting into but you thought you'd be the one to change him.
You know, that is the biggest stronghold for women, is that we think we are the one that will change a man from ways like from being a womanizer or from being a hoe like that.
And you might, if he wants to change. He wants to change. And Anthony Bruce is 1,000% correct. David Allen Greer's character, he was a good dude. And he would have loved her dirty draws. Mm-hmm. But he didn't have what Marcus had. So you went with the bad boy. So you can't be shocked when your ass get your heart broke.
You know, I know many women that have made the decision of wanting to marry this pretty boy, thinking that, because, you know, I know that Steve Harvey always quotes that a man will do certain things differently for a specific woman.
And he will. He absolutely will. And eventually you saw Marcus's character do that. Like, he went and changed completely for Hallie, and you know, so that's fine. But look, you passed up a good dude.
Okay.
That's the crazy part about that movie for me.
Let's investigate the fact that what Hallie did wrong in Boomerang is she made the mistake in sleeping with Marcus.
She didn't make no mistake.
No, when she slept with him, if she was looking for love, letting him sleep with her that first night, and then letting him move in with her, and then want to start talking about what Love should have done, Love said, hold up. If he's a hoe right now, let him keep on doing that. But you thinking that maybe my love will make him change. Maybe him living in with a woman that's going to be faithful and loyal to him will make him change. None of those things made him change.
I think faithfulness to your core principles will lead you to faithfulness in a relationship. If you understand who you are, what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to not accept, you'll get to you set that standard, then you can have that standard in your relationship. But she took a tremendous risk by doing what she did. And now ultimately, because it's a movie, it worked out. But it don't normally work out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise women to take Hallie's route to love.
No, you know, but I seriously think that she never took responsibility for her actions in the situation.
Well, right, because, well, you know, the irony does. Okay, so y'all remember when they finished washing the chitlins, the whole trough of chitlins. They washed all the chitlin dishes and whatever, and they're laying on the couch, or they sit on the couch at first watching Star Trek, and they fall asleep, and she lays on top of them, whatever. There's a moment there where he says to her, they start kissing. She says, "What are you doing?" He says, "What are we doing?" And she says, "We're kissing." And he says, "We can't kiss. We're friends." And she says, "Well, friends can kiss." Now, that part right there lets me know that you abandon your core beliefs of faithfulness to risk in this relationship.
You remove the boundary.
Right, you remove the boundary. You know that man was dating Jacqueline or gone off Jacqueline. You knew that.
Everybody in the office heard that he
had smashed half the office.
You know, and everybody in the office was talking about how he smashed.
So you can't you can't be surprised on the back end when he do the very same thing to you that he's done to others.
No. And then, but see, she got open after the sex, because then for it to even go so far as to we moving in together.
That's all I'm saying. You faithfulness you're right. Love should have brought him home. But what you got to do, and what
did you have love?
That's where I was headed. What you got to do as an individual is make sure you have real love.
That both of y'all are talking about the same thing,
right?
Because clearly, y'all was both talking, but you both weren't talking about the same.
Y'all wasn't talking about the same thing. And where he was still a broken man, and you knew that he was a broken man.
Oh yeah,
because he had talked to you about it. Matter of fact, you went and helped him through. You tried to help him through his brokenness, taking him to the art classes and that stuff. So Hallie, you don't get a pass.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out. Y'all didn't see that plot twist, did you? There was a plot twist. It was pop quiz. Okay. Malcolm and Marie. For those of you who have seen it, a lot of you haven't seen Malcolm and Marie, but it's a great movie on Netflix. And I think the lesson to take from that is perseverance, because, in my opinion, is because they were a couple who got together, and there is toxicity in both of them.
Oh Lord.
Historical toxicity, life trauma toxicity, and in the whole movie is about an argument that they had after an award show because he didn't thank her at the award show, and that lack of acknowledgement opened up this massive can of worms of their relationship, of stuff that they hadn't been dealing with, and so conversations that they hadn't had. So the perseverance for me is them staying the course in that movie through some very difficult conversations to get to some truths that needed to be uncovered and revealed. That's a hard thing to do, because in a lot of relationships, we don't want to have hard conversations. We will duck and dodge the tough conversations because they are tough conversations.
When you said that,
you can go a different route if you like.
No, I'm really trying to figure out if he would have acknowledged her, would they have ended up in that same situation?
No, it would have been a short movie. They'd have had sex that night, probably next to the award that he won.
So how important is it?
Then the movie would have been over in like 5 minutes.
So how important is that? That a spouse has arrived at the pinnacle of, their moment.
Well, I actually
worked and fought to get together. And then you finally get there and you say, you got the mic in your face, and they're like, tell us, Mr. Spence, how do you feel? You made it. And then you're as you're processing, it never dawns on you to thank the one person before you got to all these other people.
Okay, so plot twist. You just threw a plot twist in. I think it would have been difficult to not have acknowledged you in that particular venue or vein. And I agree with you, Anthony Bruce, that eventually something would have started the argument anyway, so it wouldn't. So that
was just
right. It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah,
waiting to happen.
Right, but I do think your micro point highlights a macro point in that when there are unresolved celebrations in your marriage,
okay,
then
the little ones,
any, it don't matter, little, small, big, don't matter.
Okay,
but when there are unresolved celebrations in your marriage, then you find then you will, because you've taken somebody for granted or whatever the case may be, then I think you are going to fall into challenges being able to move forward, because in the words of the prophet G Money, you didn't build this by yourself. We built this.
Oh my God.
So that's what happens. Y'all building something together and there's no acknowledgement of the contribution. So that's why I think they were gonna stumble at some point anyway. But to that point, I think that's what makes the movie so powerful, because they kept digging away at it through some hard dialogue. Ooh, and I mean, listen, Malcolm and Marie is a tough watch.
You ain't ready.
Yeah, we've had that conversation on this show. We did an actual. You can go back through our archives and you'll see that we did a show on Malcolm and solely on the movie.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to have some hard conversations, or if you and your spouse ain't in a good place, I would recommend Malcolm and Marie for y'all to watch at all. Or maybe I would, because maybe it would uncover some hard conversations that you and your spouse need to have.
You get some coffee or something, because it's gonna be a long night. They stay. It was hours upon hours upon hours into the next day, still going over and over. Oh my gosh.
Well, but listen, the fact that they kept persevering through it all, that tells you that they really loved each other and wanted to be together.
Clearly, but I mean, they needed let's call a counselor to come in and try.
Listen, love is hard, man. It's hard. We've gone through long weeks and months of counseling and therapy and working it out and trying to figure it out. That's part of it, man. Listen, in the words of the prophet Denzel Washington from The Equalizer, when you pray for the rain, you got to deal with the mud.
Well, that's true.
That's part of it. I mean, that's part of it.
But Malcolm and Marie just made you go, dang.
It's a lot.
Dang, it was like you could feel how thick it was watching it.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because, not funny, but it's a powerful movie to me because it's the most accurate movie I've ever seen as it relates to true arguments in relationships and marriage. Because when you've hit that one area that y'all ain't been talking about, it don't end in 5 minutes. It don't end in 10 minutes. It's hard. And there's ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys and ups and downs. And you're just like, man, when is this going to be over? I just want to go to bed. And you can't go to bed because you just, it's so, yeah, it was.
And the thing that I would commend them, perseverance, is that they didn't leave.
They didn't leave. They kept going.
They, at any moment, Malcolm could have said, Peaches, I ain't got time for this.
Shout out to Low Down Dirty Shane.
I was just saying, I got time for this.
But you know what else I liked about it? They persevered together. They fought together too. That was really what made it powerful as well, because he wasn't fighting by himself and she wasn't fighting by herself. They were fighting together. And I think that's a critical component of persevering through the hard times, which is one of the reasons why we pray for the Smith family, because I don't think, they ain't fighting together. So that's a whole nother conversation. Okay.
He's talking about Will and Jada Smith.
Yeah, who do you think I was talking about?
I don't know. We got a bunch of Smiths around.
Well, we talking about them.
Okay.
Everybody knows Smith family. All right. And then the final one was Covenant, the Best Man's Holiday. And, I'm going to tell you something, man. Watching that movie and the final scene where he's playing for my New York Giants. And, he has the amazing game, best game of his life, breaks the record, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes home and watches his wife die. Covenant, we went to a wedding last night, and the preacher that was there, he said, marriage is not a contract, it's a covenant, which that's an old Dr. Miles Monroe quote. Yeah. It's not a covenant, it's a contract. And I'm sorry, it's not a contract, it's a covenant. And that's such a powerful statement, because when you promise through it all to be with somebody, you make those vows. We watched two young people make vows last night, richer for poor, sickness and health. And then they end with, till death do you part. Yeah. I don't think we understand that.
Do we say that anymore? Do we mean that anymore?
Well, I think they've softened it up and said, for as long as you both shall live.
They skip over it?
Some preachers soften it up and say as long as you both shall live.
Oh, okay.
But it essentially means the same thing.
Well, there's a lot of people who keep living, but they dissolve the marriage.
Well, okay, but I'm saying, well, they dissolve it to death do you part two. That's not really the point. The point is, I don't think we understand the depth of the covenant.
Oh yeah.
When we're making it, it's easy to be married when you're rich.
Hey.
It's easy to be married when you're healthy. It's easy to be married when you the good times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the covenant is stretched and challenged at its greatest capacity when stuff ain't going right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you really got to fight through the hard times, the challenging times, the oh my God times. You know what I mean?
Man,
that's the hard part. And so watching that man stand over his wife's grave, man, that was a powerful scene.
Oh my God.
That was a powerful. And he's a young man.
With babies.
With babies, lots of babies. And he had a lot of babies. She left and he had a lot of babies. Remember, it was like 5 kids or 4 kids, 5 kids.
I don't think it was that many.
Yeah, it was. It was the 3 girls and the little boy.
He had a little boy?
Yes.
All I saw was the girl.
Go back and watch Best Man's Holiday. It was a lot of kids.
Well, and
that's a good.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and then you got to explain it to the kids,
right? So
covenant is real, man. When you make a lifelong promise before God,
okay.
That's a strong. Well, that's what a covenant is. You're saying before God.
Well, maybe because when you say contract, when everything in this world says contracts can be broken.
Right.
Or they say tear up the contract as if, and we'll just like pretend like it didn't exist.
Right.
Well, covenant is not like that.
Covenant's not like that.
You're saying that you want to give your life for this person.
Can I ask a question?
Hmm.
It's a tough question.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all ready for this.
I'm always ready for you.
If you divorce somebody that you made covenant with,
mm-hmm.
Does that break the covenant?
I don't know how to answer that.
I don't either.
Because I've never heard covenant broken. Have you?
Yes, people break covenants all the time.
Well, but I mean,
that's why the divorce rate is so high. But does God see you as broken the covenant? Or are you still obligated to fulfill the covenant?
Well, I think it depends on, if I understand it correctly, it's in scripture where it depends on what was the reason. Okay. So God says that.
I'm talking about walk away. I just know it's irreconcilable differences.
So that's like saying, I decided all this time I don't like vanilla ice cream. I prefer strawberry.
Okay.
But you've been eating vanilla ice cream all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Can you that's a great question Anthony's asking. Are there rules that govern the covenant, to governing the covenant? That's what we got to understand. That technically, yes, the rules are you're supposed to stay.
Yeah.
Unless there's infidelity. Hey, hope, infidelity, or someone is an unbeliever in the marriage, and they don't want to stay. You can't break the covenant, but because according to the word of God, they are not, you are a believer and they are not. So because they are not a believer, they are not bound to the covenant.
Oh.
But you can walk away. I mean, they can walk away. So it's an interesting conversation because covenant is this powerful thing.
True. But that's the reason why the scripture talks about being equally yoked, so that wouldn't be you wouldn't be able to use that as an out.
Yeah, and that's why you got to know. That was exactly right. That's exactly right. That's why you have to be with somebody who shares the similar belief system. Because if you don't, then they're not bound to the covenant. They're not bound to the covenant. So, man, the rules, you know, and it's like I said earlier, if you break up with somebody and you're both believers, does God look at that and say, well, y'all broke covenant? And is there a punishment tied to that?
That's a good question. I've never asked that question. That's an excellent question.
Like, what happens when you break a contract? There's punishments tied to that, penalties, fees, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Lawsuits, possibly. When you break a covenant, something to think about. All right. So that's our show today. We just wanted to take you on a we like movies and music in this house.
Yeah.
So those are going to come up quite often on this show when we see something of interest that we want to bring to y'all.
But I must say, I've never looked at the lessons that we have learnred from all of the culture classics of Black cinema. I mean, I've looked at Love and Basketball. I've looked at Sprung. I've looked at what was the other one? Love Jones.
Yeah.
And Best Man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I come away from understanding the premise, you know, of watching the movie, but never really sat back and reflected on the lessons that we've learned having watched it.
Well, and to be honest with you, I hadn't either. I had not thought about it to the depth that we talked about today, but it just over curiosities and over time, you start to reflect on certain things, and as you get older and wiser, you start to realize there were some lessons that could have been taken from that, and then there are other lessons you go, that's a lesson. It's just not one that's like it's not necessarily the most positive lesson, but it is a lesson because you can listen. There's an old saying that says experience is the best teacher, but you don't have to take every class. And I think it's a powerful statement in that you can watch other people's situations. You can live vicariously through others or vicariously through film or presentations or whatever, and then glean the lessons from those experiences and apply them to your own life.
But I think that it's like you said, but
oh my goodness.
When we were younger, it was more of just entertainment.
Right.
But now we're older saying, you know, what did I learn? Because now that I have to backpedal. In all that I know about Love Jones, there was a scene where Nina, after she had spent the night with Darius, she said, don't get all geeked up because we just kicking it.
Right.
That's when her friend was like, you know, oh, so then.
But she was lying.
So you saying that Nina's character was just.
She was lying. She wanted more.
She got open after this one night stand.
Right.
Trying to fill the void of the relationship that fell apart.
Right. She was lying. Then she was lying.
So what was it then? She was in love?
She knew something was different about this than anything she'd ever experienced before. And so instead of just being honest about the intention of what she was feeling, she just lied and said, no, we're just kicking it. And part of that was probably because she wanted to get her heart broke again. I respect that. But at the same time,
but then
lying ain't gonna get you nowhere.
You know what though? She did the same thing that the other movie we talked about. What was that other movie we were talking about on here?
I know, but you got 2 minutes.
The other movie, she moved in with him. Nina moved in with Darius, because remember, she was just house sitting when the movie first comes on, that apartment she's in is not her place. She's just house sitting for a friend or whatever. But she moves in with Darius, and that's when his ex calls on the phone in the middle of the night, and he starts.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and break down Love Jones with you because that's your favorite movie.
Break it down.
Well, hold on. We'll break down Love Jones, this part that she's talking about while y'all watch this commercial.
You're muted.
I know we muted. Listen, I do this.
Okay. Well,
this one here, boy. Well, I love her though. I'm keeping her.
Thanks.
You welcome.
Trying to make him a pet.
Not a pet.
I love her. I'm keeping her.
Pass the.
Nope.
Okay. We gotta go. There's nothing good that can come out of this show from here on out. I love you, boo. I always enjoy doing this show with you. This is special to me always. We will be back tonight for BNR Supper Club, as you just saw. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. And then, of course, Uncorked Wine tonight. So don't miss out on all the fun. Love to each and every one of you. And, have a blessed Saturday. I know what the problem is. I'm not on the right. There you go. I'm like, why is the show thing not there? Okay, now I got it. Peace.
You should ever leave.